Junk Food Nutritionist. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I like junk food. In terms of, I like things that are sweet, I like desserts, but I also like things that come in packages. And I think that there are healthy things that come in packages. And a lot of times people just say, oh, if it's packaged food or processed food, it's junk food. I don't think that's true. So today, for example, I have kombucha. And if you look closely, it's root beer flavored kombucha. So you might be thinking, oh my God, like that's gotta be full of sugar. Don't you know that sugar in root beer, that's bad for you? But if you look, it's only, it's only 5 grams of sugar. It's really hard to like make sure that the camera sees it right because it looks like it's gonna be blurry right now. But right here in this line, 5 grams of sugar. For the whole bottle, for the whole, 7.5 for the whole bottle because there's 1.5 servings per container. So 5 grams for the 8 ounces, and then if you drink all 12, it'd be 7.5, which is a lot less than soda. Unless you're drinking diet soda. But diet root beer is gross. And this isn't really soda, this is kombucha, like I said. And, more importantly, the reason I like kombucha, or the reason I'm going to drink some today, is because it's got probiotics. And if we turn to the other side, it'll actually tell us what type of probiotic it has. It's lactobacillus and Saccharomyces. I took microbiology and I used to work in a microbiology lab. Basically, that's good bacteria. So there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. And right now, I'm on an antibiotic to try to get rid of bad bacteria. But when that happens, when you take an antibiotic, sometimes you're going to get rid of your own good bacteria too. So we have good bacteria in our digestive tract. And in nutrition, that's really important because they can help break down food and help digest food and help us absorb our nutrients better when that happens. But then you take an antibiotic and they get wiped out, they get killed, and that can cause diarrhea. I know some of you might be like, ick, why is she talking about that? That's why I kind of whispered it. So when you're on a antibiotic, it can be helpful to eat probiotics. It doesn't have to be kombucha if you don't like kombucha, or you can't find kombucha, or you're just like, I don't know what that is, I don't want to try it, I'm scared. Yogurt is a probiotic too. That's a big one. Kefir, which is kind of like yogurt, it's a more fermented version of yogurt. Pickles, or pickled foods, like you can get pickled cucumbers, pickled carrots, pickled ginger. You don't have to eat actual pickles because, like, I like cucumbers, but I don't like pickles, which are pickled cucumbers. So you can eat other pickled things if you just don't like pickles. So there's lots of options. It's not just kombucha if you're on an antibiotic. But I'm on an antibiotic, so I'm going to try some kombucha. I've tried other brands of kombucha before that I've liked. And I just last week found this one when I was at a local health food store. It's a locally run, so it's not a chain. So I don't know for sure if you guys are going to be able to find it in your stores. But I thought it was interesting. And it does look like it's available everywhere, or more places than just here. Because if you look, it's got Connecticut, Iowa, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Hawaii and Michigan deposits. So it probably is all over the country, but it's originally made in Texas, Austin, Texas, and it's available for me at a local store, at a locally owned business, and a locally operated business. But what caught my attention about this particular one is that it's root beer flavored, because most of the other kombuchas I've tried are not root beer flavored. I've never seen a root beer flavored kombucha. Most of them are like fruit flavors, because you can. First of all, kombucha is a tea. Kombucha is fermented tea. I should back up. So if you guys don't know what kombucha is, never heard of kombucha, it's tea. So fermenting black tea is going to be black tea flavored. You can get raspberry flavored tea that we can ferment and make raspberry kombucha, or we could add raspberries to black tea and then make a raspberry kombucha that way. Or I've seen, mango kombucha. I've seen ginger kombucha is a big one. I've seen that in several different brands. We just find I like the taste of it. It's another one I've drinking while I've been on this antibiotic because ginger's good for you if you're sick. And so then in addition to the probiotics, it's like a double whammy, a double win for me. But I saw this and I was like, root beer kombucha? I've never heard of root beer kombucha, and I want to see if this is really going to taste like root beer. I love root beer. It's the one soda that I would say I really like the taste of. The cap says there's always enough. And before I even took a sip, this smells like root beer. And what's interesting is I'm looking at the ingredients, I don't see like sassafras or another root. But I mean, like, it doesn't, it's not root beer, but it does have that familiar, subtle root beer taste. It's more subtle. It's not a strong root beer soda. I'm not drinking a soda. But I do get a hint of that root beer flavoring. But if you look at the ingredients, I'll get it close so you can see. Hopefully that's not too blurry. You can see the ingredients just say organic raw kombucha, natural flavors, and then organic stevia. So that's what you're getting the sweetness from. And using stevia or sugar is necessary or is fairly important in fermentation, because fermentation, basically bacteria eats sugar or sweet things like stevia, and the byproduct of that is the fermentation product. So that's true of like beers and wine. You know, they ferment. Both beers and wine contain sugar. I hate to break it to you if you didn't know that already, but beers and wine have sugar, and that's kind of part of the fermentation process, is having these bacteria eat the sugar to help the fermentation. So, not that I would recommend. I know I said fermented foods are good if you're on antibiotics. Not that I recommend eating beer or wine, drinking beer or wine if you're on an antibiotic. It's definitely something to talk to your doctor about, because it could interfere with the medication you're on. Not only if you're on an antibiotic, but maybe you're on other medication that could be interfering with. So definitely talk to your doctor before you drink beer or wine while taking medication. But that's totally a side note. What I'm really talking about today is kombucha. That this root beer flavored kombucha does really have a subtle hint of root beer. It's definitely not like drinking a soda. But sometime like today, when you're kind of feeling a little sick and you want a little bit of probiotics, you want a little just subtle taste of that root beer without all the calories, without all the sugar, not a bad option. Thanks for joining me.